So this is called That Good Kind of Trouble. I see Jesus writing in the sand, defending a woman caught in adultery. I see Jesus, spray can in hand, defacing the monuments that celebrate slavery. I see Jesus striding into the temple, flipping up tables and stirring a fervor. I see Jesus at Capitol buildings, demanding justice for Breonna Taylor. I see Jesus in Gethsemane, arrested for claims that challenge an empire. I see Jesus in Minnesota, tear-gassed for believing that Black Lives Matter. I see Jesus hassling the priests who claim one thing but live like another. I see Jesus hounding the pastors who won't say white privilege for 30 pieces of silver. I see Jesus cursing a fig tree, the religious orders he reduces to rubble. I see Jesus marching in protest, getting himself into that good kind of trouble. Now this is my Lord, and the way of my King. His road is narrow, like the knife edge is thin, and as we walk alongside him, the impostors start running. His kingdom is here, and his hour is coming. Now, I'm not an American. I'm a Brit from the UK. I've lived in America for 9 years. I currently live in Asheville, North Carolina, in the mountains. And I come from a charismatic Anglican tradition in the UK, heavily influenced by John Wimber and the Vineyard movement, with a heavy emphasis on the work of the Spirit and on social justice and a theology of the kingdom of God, which is Jesus' message that his kingdom, his rule of love, of power, of peace and justice is here, and it is coming, and it is breaking into our world and our reality. And so seeing these protests earlier on this year, and that are still continuing, standing for racial justice, racial equality, and the end of police violence seems like kingdom movements to me. And I witnessed firsthand how these protests were being led by young activists and older Black church leaders who would pray together before these protests and commit themselves to non-violence. And so I can see the work of the kingdom in that, fighting for racial equality and justice and the end of police violence and the spontaneous execution of citizens. And I know that for many white Christians, particularly white evangelical Christians, this may be counterintuitive or even heretical. But I see Jesus doing all sorts of things in the Gospels that defy expectations. So the people of God in the Gospels were expecting a Messiah. But there's no way that the coming Messiah would be one who would break Sabbath laws. There's no way that the coming Messiah would be one who would touch the unclean, lepers, or the dead, or a bleeding woman. There's no way that the Messiah would prophesy the destruction of the temple. There's no way that the Messiah would fashion a whip and go into the temple and flip over tables and disrupt the entire process of worship. There's just no way that the Messiah would do that. And yet Jesus did all those things. And so this isn't so much a nice, white, pleasant Jesus, meek and mild. This is Jesus who is more like a radical insurgent. And so we see Jesus acting in these unexpected ways that confound the religious and political establishments. And he's still doing that work today and still bringing his kingdom in that fashion today, frustrating the religious establishments and changing and disrupting the political status quo. And Jesus describes his ministry as much in this way, where right at the beginning of his ministry in Luke 4, he quotes Isaiah 61, where it says, "The Spirit of the Lord is on me, because he has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim freedom for the prisoners and recovery of sight for the blind, to set the oppressed free, and to proclaim the year of the Lord's favour." And that means getting into some good kind of trouble. A civil rights leader And Congressman John Lewis, who recently passed away, coined the term good trouble. And I think that is exactly the kind of trouble that the people of God should be getting into.